And foolishly, America is beginning to lose India. I mean, the tariffs they've slapped on India have really upset and annoyed the Indians. So they're saying, well, we've always got other friends elsewhere. And the fact they're going to be there, Modi's going to be there in Beijing, that sends a bit of a signal that, it's not just an American-dominated world.
Let's look at this story that next week the Chinese Premier Xi Jinping will host the Northern Korea leader Kim Jong-un and the Russian President Vladimir Putin. It's like a dream dinner party at a parade in Tiananmen Square to mark the end of the Second World War. The Times' Richard Spencer has written in the Times today about how the trio are leading an anti-Western alliance. Xi has invited other world leaders, but is likely that most Western heads of governments will stay away because of Putin's presence. Cindy, can you unpack this for me? Is Premier Xi simply inviting world leaders to what is an important commemoration, or is he sending a message to the West?
Well, the timing is not manufactured. It's the 80th anniversary of the end of the war in Japan, end of the Japanese invasion of China, I should say, of Japan's involvement in World War II. So China is commemorating this on September 3rd. Anyway, now this massive military parade, which will see, as you mentioned, all of these, the gang, the bromance all coming together, except for Western leaders. I think Western leaders were invited. As you say, it was the perception of someone like Trump or Starmer standing on a podium with Putin and Kim Jong-un was just not going to be what Western leaders wanted to put out there. But Xi will be using this as a projection of his own power, not least to show China's military might as well. This is such an important anniversary. Victory over Japan, but victory because of the American A-bombs, not because of Chinese particularly game-changing effort, let's put it that way. But now China's a different place. In that military parade, we're going to be having that really heavily in our faces with the release of new military tech like fighter jets, tanks. We're going to be seeing what else they're going to be rolling out. But yeah, it will very much be a message of saying, this is modern China now. World War II will never happen again to us as long as this party governs this country.
I mean, can you unpack a bit of that for our listeners? Because it is a fascinating period of history, and people obviously in Britain don't know much about it, which is effectively there were sort of two world wars, and Japan attacked America at Pearl Harbor to keep America out of Asia, so that Japan could do what Germany was doing in Europe. Japan could dominate Asia, and that included invading China. Yeah,
and so I'll caveat what I said earlier, which is that China did hold out. And if China didn't hold out and actually did fall Japan's way, by the time that Germany invaded in Europe, then the World War would have been a different matter altogether. So China did hold out, but Japan invaded in 1937, a sustained invasion at least. There were smaller attacks earlier as well. And that's when the Chinese and Koreans as well mark the beginning of World War II in Asia, a period of history which we don't really think about or talk about much in the West.
So the West feels obviously affronted that Vladimir Putin is going to this commemoration. And Ukraine is being bombed by Putin again, the second worst attack since the war began on Kyiv. I mean, I don't quite know how to put this. China doesn't need necessarily to worry about Western sensibilities, Michael. They can just say, we've had a long-standing engagement with Russia and we're going to invite the Russian head of state to our commemoration.
Indeed they can, and they will. And also, it's quite convenient that the Western leaders are not attending, because it looks as though it can be portrayed as a kind of standing up to America, a sort of Western solidarity parade, and all the friends, the usual suspects, of course, North Korea and Belarus and various others will be there, but also some non-aligned countries, most importantly, India. And that is a very important signal. I mean, India's begun to patch up its relations with China, and foolishly, America is beginning to lose India. I mean, the tariffs they've slapped on India have really upset and annoyed the Indians. So they're saying, well, we've always got other friends elsewhere. And the fact they're going to be there, Modi's going to be there in Beijing, that sends a bit of a signal that, it's not just an American-dominated world. There are other countries that look to us, China, and certainly don't depend on Washington.
It is the most extraordinary own goal, isn't it? The American trade attack on India. When you think how many successful Indian immigrants have gone to America, started these incredible tech companies, the huge opportunity that America has. And we forget that India is, in many ways, a non-aligned country. It has a strong historic relationship with Russia. It has China on its border as well. And of course it can move in different directions if America gives it the cold shoulder.
It can and probably will. And it is a serious attack. It's also to do with Indian pride. I mean, India is now the largest, most populous country in the world. It's having overtaken China.
Yeah.
And it does feel it's not sufficiently recognized as a great global power. And therefore it doesn't want to be bossed around as it sees it by Trump or by anyone in the United States. And if they're sending a signal to Washington, well, so much the better, and so much the better for Modi's credentials at home.
We had Grant Shapps on Times Radio Breakfast this morning, very critical of Donald Trump over Ukraine. Let's hear what he had to say.
Trump has had the wool pulled over his eyes by Putin. He's been incredibly naive about Putin's intentions, which have always been to continue this war. And, furthermore, the fact that he thought that it was okay to deal with a dictator invading a democracy in the same way, or perhaps giving him more, actually a lot more respect than he gave to the Democratic country and the Democratic president that had his country invaded. And I think that should worry us all.
I mean, it is hiding in plain sight, Michael. I mean, Putin comes to Alaska, talks about a ceasefire, talks about potentially meeting Zelensky, and then bombs the hell out of Kyiv. I mean, he's just using these endless contortions of Donald Trump to continue to prosecute his war.
Exactly, and every time he comes up with a new prevarication, just to stop Trump actually being able to carry out his threats, which I don't think ever were real threats, to impose punitive tariffs on Moscow or to, in other ways, sanction Russia a bit more. And each time Putin moved, just verbally a little bit, oh, no, we are going to talk about, yes, of course we're going to talk about meeting Zelensky. We'll talk about talking about it. It's never actually actual, it's never going to happen. But it's just a way of giving Trump a reason to say, oh, well, we'll think a bit more. And he's playing him just for a patsy. He really is.
It's remarkable that after the strikes on Kiev this week, that Trump hasn't said anything at all.
Yeah.
Not even on Truth Social. When it surely is a slap in the face after Alaska.
And what he tends to say is, I'm very unhappy about this. Well, I'm unhappy. That's not going to help Kiev, is it?
It's shaming and it's embarrassing, and it stuns me how this administration behaves.
Thank you, press.